Alright, so a lot of people don't know this, but mosquitoes kill more people than lions, sharks, and hippopotamus combined in a year. They basically do this by transmitting the malaria, which is one of the most deadly diseases in the world right now.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the top 10 causes of death in the world.
Alright, so number one, we have the cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease like hypertension, ischemic heart disease, stroke, and the rest of high blood pressure are the leading causes of death in the world, especially in men, because men tend to have something called the LDH, which is a low density lipoprotein, and women have the HDH, which is a high density lipoprotein, which takes away cholesterol from the blood. Men have less of that. That is the reason why more men die from heart diseases than women.
I bet you can name at least one person that has died from cancer. Cancer is one of the most leading diseases in the world that's killing a lot of people. It's described as an abnormal growth of a lot of cells that's coming together, causing tumor growth. About 9.6 million people worldwide die from cancer every. So tuberculosis is another leading cause of death, and it's actually caused by bacteria that are ingested, which affect the lungs.
Alright, then please know that tuberculosis does not only affect the lungs, it affects the bones and other parts of the human body. But the leading cause is predominantly affects the lungs. That is the reason why we always talk about tuberculosis of the lungs. Tuberculosis kills millions of how many? What is it?
Like 2.6 million
every year. Alright, so the number one leading cause of lung cancer in the world is actually smoking. Not just lung cancer, a lot of diseases. Smoking predisposes you to a lot of diseases. Drinking and smoking, actually. Drinking, smoking, and obesity. Alright, so people, when we advise people not to smoke, they say, but some doctors also smoke. So there's a difference between actually having the knowledge and having the wisdom. You might have the knowledge that smoking is bad, but you don't have the wisdom to stop smoking. There's a reason why many doctors understand the implications of smoking, but still smoke. So smoking kills about how many people worldwide, I think?
It's about 200,000.
Not 200,000.
No, it's true. Sorry, it's
millions of people, because it's a combinant factor to a lot of diseases. Alright, so another leading cause of death is malnutrition. Malnutrition is different from hunger. Malnutrition is when you are eating the same type of food, the same diet for a very long time, and then you lack other. For example, for a balanced diet, it's just basic knowledge. You need proteins, carbohydrate, vitamins, and the rest of the mineral salts. Or some people just have a pure carbon diet, or some people have a pure protein diet, and that is very bad because your body now doesn't find what to. If you eat protein, your body goes to something we call gluconeogenesis, where it converts protein to carbohydrates for you to have energy. But if you are basically always on a carb diet, then you lack protein. That is the reason why many children in Africa have kwashiorkor, and a lot of other places are suffering from.
Some children have marasmus.
Exactly. All right. So malnutrition is a very it's a leading cause of death.
Another leading cause of death in the world today is suicide. I can't really expatiate on this. Why? Because it's literally someone taking their own life, and it's due to some reasons like mental health problems or the inability to cope with issues or things like that. So a lot of people have died from this. About 800,000 people every year die from suicide. They die by suicide because they are taking their own lives. So yes, it's not something that is a serious thing.
Know that suicide is different from euthanasia. Euthanasia is when you medically ask a doctor to help you kill you, and it's legal in some countries. I think Switzerland, right?
Yes, I've heard about it. Like you don't want to go on anymore.
Exactly, euthanasia is legal in some countries, and suicide is when you kill yourself without the help of anybody.
You do it on your own.
Yeah, and anytime you're feeling like killing yourself, there are a lot of suicide helplines you can call. This every country does have this, right?
Of course.
So the suicide helplines, you can call the particular number, and they will talk you out of it, give you reasons to live, and even help you.
Yeah, your life has purpose. Don't take it.
Like being our subscriber.
Yeah.
Alright, so it's estimated that at least 1,000 people die every day from terrorism around the world, especially in places like Africa right now that is undergoing religious wars and all of that. Terrorists are defined by the dictionary as an organization that fights against the government with arms, not just the government but the general population committing acts of terror. So an example of a terrorist organization, or one that is recognized as a terrorist organization, is Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda was responsible for the bombing of the Twin Towers. Yeah, exactly, 9/11 in 2001 when I was born. And we have other terrorist organizations that the Taliban was considered terrorist, but
Yes.
now they have the Afghanistan
control.
government. So do you still call them terrorists? So terrorists is actually the leading cause of death because terrorists are ruthless, they are brute, and they kill without cause sometimes.
Mercilessly.
And I think another country that is suffering with terrorism right now is I think Congo, right? Congo is suffering from, well, we call them rebels. Nigeria is also suffering from terrorists. I didn't want to mention Nigeria. I wanted to surprise you guys by talking about making a whole video without talking about terrorists, Nigerian terrorists. Right, so Nigeria has been suffering from terrorists since 2010. Right now, the country has even learned to live with them. The country moves on even with terrorists. The country moves on even with terrorists actually committing acts of terror every day. Like it's normal now to hear that 20 people have been killed or 30 people were killed.
But
it's normal, like, to be sincere. The news doesn't even cover it anymore.
Okay, for the people that love going to the beach in summer, I'm not saying this to scare you, but a leading cause of death also in the world is drowning. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about how they're afraid of entering the water because of this cause.
Don't swim, get away from stay away from the water.
Don't do it. Go to a coach first, learn how to swim before you swim.
You are not a fish.
Please.
You are not a fish. It's not innate in you to swim.
Exactly.
Some people, like, I remember when I couldn't swim, I just thought if I entered water, I would just find
just get the ability.
Exactly. If you enter water, you're going to drown and die.
Just stay, or put your feet. Put your
Millions
feet.
of people die every year, especially during summer.
Exactly.
People going to the beach,
and they drown. And drowning is a slow death.
Yes.
So it's.
Have you ever drowned before? How do you know?
Of course not, but I've seen people die. Okay, I've not seen.
You have seen people
movies.
act in movies.
Of course. But anyways, yeah. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, but don't do it if you can't.
It's alright.
Yeah. Okay. Next one.
Alright, so a leading cause of death is actually road accidents. The reason for this is there are many drunk drivers on the road and a lot of people driving without their driver's licenses. People just drive without having the license, and many of them cause accidents. And when you go to Africa, the leading cause of road accidents is not even drunk driving. It's actually the state of our roads. We have very bad roads in Africa, and especially there are no signs and nothing to control the traffic. Just you on your own. People don't get regulated. The state of the vehicles don't get checked and everything. And you have people driving, their brakes fail, and of course mechanical systems will always fail. That's the reason why you have to get them checked regularly. So one of the leading causes of death is road accidents. Millions of people die every year. In fact, statistically every day, I don't know where I saw this, but I think about 10,000 accidents occur in New York. I don't know, New York alone.
Yeah, I feel like it's also because it's a busy population.
Exactly.
So a lot of people are on the roads all the time.
Yeah, that's the reason why a lot of governments are already trying to cover out the traffic and all of that. China has developed a very extensive system of roads. India is working on their train system. It's working on their train system, so people don't get to use vehicles. They just go into the train. And if you go to bigger cities, unfortunately our city does not have a metro. But if you go to Moscow, you see they have a very beautiful metro system where you can pay for a year and use it all through.
So you don't have to.
So road accidents is a leading cause of death in the world, and that is the reason why when you actually start driving, you should be very careful drivers, because sometimes it's not even your fault. Some drunk person might just swerve and hit your car and you are done. You are just gone. All right. So recently in the United States, there was the hurricane, Iana. Was it a hurricane?
I think so.
It was not a hurricane. I think. Yeah, it was a hurricane Iana that hit the west coast, hit Florida and destroyed most of the city.
Oh, I heard of that.
Yeah, so some of the most prevalent causes of death are natural disasters. You have volcanic eruptions, you have wildfires, you have earthquakes, exactly. You just have flooding. Flooding is the most frequent. In Nigeria right now, and especially in my place, we're having flooding because the river Benue, one of the biggest rivers in Africa, has decided to overflow its banks. And a lot of people are drowned. A lot of houses were submerged and all of that. So natural disasters are a leading cause of death. And the whole dinosaur civilization was wiped out by an asteroid, a meteor. All right.
Okay, so a lot of people will be shocked by this, but diarrhea can kill you. That's another leading cause of death in the world. Funny enough.
Wait. Is there any time, you had diarrhea and you felt you were going to leave?
No, of course. Right? No, I won't lie. Right? Like I'm even surprised myself. No, it's scary. Like now I think about it because I'm studying medicine now and I see that diarrhea can cause dehydration and it can cause like a decrease in.
Yeah, I think I had a rotavirus once, and one of the symptoms of rotavirus is excessive diarrhea. So I lost almost all my fluid, and I couldn't even drink anything because that I had a hyper reflex of what do you call it? I don't know. I just studied it in neurology yesterday, but I couldn't just eat anything, and basically I was drained of fluid. I had to go to the hospital later to get an IV drip, the saline water, the infusion therapy. Basically.
You see, so guys, honestly, diarrhea.
When you have diarrhea, don't joke with it.
Yeah,
millions of people every year.
It's scary.
Alright, so like Amarachi said, we're not telling you this so that you live in fear.
No.
We're telling you this so that you protect yourself and get more careful when you get some of these diseases because they are deadly. They are very deadly, and if you joke with them, it always ends up in mortality.
Of course. Just take it as now and
exactly. And the reason why we know these things is because we are med students. We are studying. We're already in our 4th year. We know a lot of things presently.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a med student like us, we have made videos on how to get admissions to study in medical universities. You watch this next video here and about how to get admission into med school anywhere in the world. We covered Russia. We covered China. And
we covered Turkey.
Georgia.
We covered America.
We covered Germany.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video, please, and
subscribe. Okay.
See you.
Bye.